our products and services or more of them. They generally, some things just take longer than others. And so as we're reviewing the promotional mix, keep that in mind. Some of these elements may be more to inform people or to create a need, if you will, although some are more short term and are designed to affect purchase behavior almost immediately from what we'll see. So let's highlight some of these different components here and then we'll discuss them one by one. Now the first element of the promotional mix, and by and large the most common one, simply because we see it day in and day out, is advertising. In advertising we often have a lot of experience and exposure to, simply because it is so visible. You know, there isn't generally a moment during the day that we are not being advertised to in some way, shape, or form, whether it's product placement in television or movies, whether it's radio advertisements, whether it's advertisements on the internet, whether it's advertisements on television. You know, generally the only time that we are not being advertised to is when we're sleeping. Outside of that, you see a large number of advertisements geared towards trying to get us to purchase certain things. And so first off, how do we define advertising? There's a couple of components. Advertising is paid and non-personal communication at which a identified sponsor informs an audience about a product. And so paid, non-personal, at which an identified sponsor is informing an audience about a product. And so you might wonder, okay, what are these two elements that I have here? I wrote down paid and non-personal, and why are those important? Well, the first thing is advertising is delineated between such things as publicity or public relations because it is paid, meaning that a company is going to run an advertising campaign and it will essentially pay another company to run its particular advertisements or pay a radio station to run an audio kind of advertisement, if you will, or pay a particular company who owns a website to show a banner ad or something similar. And so there is a paid element, so this is company sponsored, of course. But it's also non-personal. And what is meant by non-personal is you don't have the ability to interact with the ad. And by interact, what I mean is in some advertisements, particularly when we get to some of the others, is that you have the ability to tailor the message to the person individually. With advertisements, they're generally created for a mass audience, for a large number of people. And so by advertising, let's say on the Super Bowl, maybe you're paying $2.7 or $3.1 million for a 30-second spot, which is roughly what they go for nowadays. But if you divide that ultimately by the reach or the number of people that you are advertising to, on a per person basis, it's very, very small. It's actually pretty cost effective, but you have to be a larger corporation to have that type of budget for your marketing department. Now, it isn't tailored though to everyone that's watching, because depending upon how someone interacts with the advertisement, I can't necessarily change the message to meet the needs of that person. And so advertising generally is meant to inform people about certain products or services, to make it so that people recognize my brand because they see it more often. And generally, you see the companies that run advertisements, particularly during the Super Bowl, are usually well-known companies that are simply trying to make sure that their brands stay relevant and they stay up in front and they have a good brand image, if you will. So obviously, a lot of companies would not necessarily advertise during the Super Bowl simply because of the initial cost, even though on a per person basis it might actually be lower in cost than some of the other forms of promotion that I'm actually going to go over here. Now there are a number of different choices of media, of course, and they all have different costs. So I went over obviously the aspect of television advertising and how that can employ a cost. But you can go through a number of different other advertisements, whether they're print, like magazines or newspapers, whether it's online advertising. There's a number of different opportunities that you have to actually go ahead and advertise this way. Now, the next form of promotion is what we call personal selling. And personal selling, although it's a form of promotion, operates in a very different way than advertising. And personal selling involves a salesperson specifically that will actually go ahead and communicate one-on-one with potential customers. And so you have one-on-one communication. And this is both positive and negative. If we talk about effectiveness of this particular method, you can argue that this is probably one of the more effective ways of promoting your particular products and services. It is by far the oldest, as well as the most expensive form of sales. And the reason for that is you're paying for cost on a one-on-one basis. And that has certain advantages, but it also has certain disadvantages. So let's look at the advantages first. The first of which is that you have the ability to tailor your message to the person who's actually receiving it. And you can look at things like nonverbal communication. You can assess their needs. You can ask them questions based upon what are their needs, and then essentially offer them different products or services that fit those particular needs. And so by and large, it is probably the most effective form of promotion, but it is very expensive because you're typically paying for the time of one person and your reach is very small. You know, what we do is when we analyze promotional methods, you consider two variables. You're looking at reach, but you're also looking at effectiveness. And ultimately, the larger your reach, generally the less effective your promotional method is because you can't necessarily tailor it to a few people since you're reaching a large audience. Whereas in personal selling, your reach is very small, right? You're reaching maybe 1, 2, 3, maybe a handful of people at the very most. And then ultimately, though, you can tailor your message to those particular individuals. And so we can do what we call qualify people and make sure that they fit the characteristics of people that would have a need for our product or service, and then ultimately develop my pitch, so to speak, in line with ultimately their characteristics and what their needs and desires are. So on a total basis, if you were to look at just the expenditures, maybe personal selling will be less than advertising, but if you go on a per person basis, then personal selling generally is more expensive than simply your advertising and different things of that nature. All right, the next form of promotion is what we call sales promotion. And sales promotion, you're all probably very familiar to. You may not have heard the terminology before, but you've definitely experienced what sales promotion is. And sales promotion involves what we call short-term promotional activities. And what these short-term promotional activities are designed to do is they're designed to encourage an immediate purchase. And that's a very, very important part of this particular method, because we mentioned that there are some advertising methods that are more long-term, that are meant really to inform and may not affect anything in the immediate future. But sales promotion is designed to ultimately have an immediate impact right now. And so some common things for promotional or sales promotional methods include things like coupons, where you're offering the buyer a certain discount, if you will, for purchasing a particular product. You may do things called like offer premiums, which are offering free or reduced price items that are meant to accompany a particular purchase. And so it's very common, for example, the day after Thanksgiving sales. Typically, if you purchase product XYZ, you might get something for free. And usually that could be something of value or something different, obviously. But it's meant to obviously encourage you to make an immediate purchase now. You know, buy one, get one free, buy two, get one free. Those are all sales promotional methods. And they're designed and very effective for buyers that are in that stage of the consumer decision-making or buying process where they're at a point where they want to make a purchase. And it can be, ultimately they could be thinking about a number of different products that meet that particular need. And the sales promotional method and that form of promotion may serve to have them purchase one product over another. If everything is fairly constant, things are fairly similar, then ultimately the price or the discount or the premium that I get along with that purchase might be enough to deter me from purchasing a product from one company and purchasing it with another. Now, the last form of promotion is what we call publicity and public relations. And I'm going to abbreviate that simply as PR for public relations. And this takes the form of a couple of different things. First off, let's go into what publicity is. Publicity is information about a company, a product, or an event that is simply transmitted by the general mass media as a way of attracting public attention. And so publicity specifically is not controlled by the company. And this can be either good or bad. Right? Publicity we know is free because it's produced and provided by the mass media. And so the news outlets in different places will run different events highlighting certain stories, highlighting certain businesses. The unfortunate thing though, although it is free, you can't necessarily control publicity. You don't have the ability to affect or change what that news outlet or what the media will essentially say about you. And that essentially could be very, very problematic. You know, we've heard of the term that, well, no press is essentially bad press. And although if you're trying to raise awareness about yourself, then that might be true. But to an extent, you can certainly argue that you don't want negative things being said about you or your company, because ultimately that could hurt the perception that people have of you. You know, just take, for example, within the last several years, Taco Bell had the huge issue where there was an allegation that the meat that they used wasn't real beef and it was some other form of, you know, kind of a combination of different things, if you will. And obviously that wasn't something that was produced by the company, because they wouldn't say something that would necessarily affect them negatively. And they had to respond to that, of course. And that's what you'll find is publicity, although it can be positive, it can be negative as well. And it's important that a company responds to those allegations quickly, much as Taco Bell did. They ran a number of different advertisements saying that those were incorrect. They ran different advertisements saying that studies had been done that prove it's, you know, such and such percentage of ground beef or whatever the case was. I don't remember the exact specifics. But they responded to that because publicity that is negative, that does not go noticed or it's not responded to, people generally accept as true if no one says anything to nullify that or to negate that potential issue there. And so that presents not only opportunities, but also presents some significant threats as well. Now, with regards to public relations is influenced by the company. And so here we have the ability to change ultimately what the perception is about our particular company. And so we know that public relations are company influenced, and the purpose is twofold. The first purpose is to build goodwill with the public. And so we want the public to view us as favorable, of course. We definitely want them to perceive us as a socially conscious and environmentally conscious company that does good, positive things and isn't in it simply just for monetary gain. And so that's important. And so companies have public relations departments that are in charge of drafting press releases and sending those to different outlets and are designed to raise awareness about all of the good things that companies do. Just look at websites for a lot of companies. Typically they have a public relations section or an about section, and it's just designed to highlight all of the positive contributions that companies are making. And so once again, we're building goodwill because we as consumers generally want to purchase products from businesses that we somewhat line up with from an ethical standpoint, but we also see that they are giving back to the community and generally having a positive impact. Now, the second event that I referenced that public relations is designed to do is deal with unfavorable events. And there obviously comes a time when bad things take place. And public relations is designed to deal with those maybe unforeseen and unfavorable events. So for example, we know that in the last several years, British Petroleum, commonly referred to as BP, had the Deepwater Horizon disaster where an explosion took place on the Deepwater Horizon oil rig, which is just outside of the Gulf, of course. And then it obviously subsequently caused that Deepwater Horizon oil rig to sink, severing connection with the actual pumps and causing a large, significant number of oil to be pumped into the Gulf, which caused just devastation in that particular area. You have people like fishermen who obviously need the Gulf to provide for their families and things, and they weren't in positions to do so. You had restaurants that were in that area that obviously suffered significantly. And so BP, obviously their public relations department, was in charge of dealing with a very unfavorable event. And so they ran different advertisements on television, which typically showcased employees that were from that particular area, and were talking about how they were present and how they were dealing with it, and they were committed to that particular area. They were highlighting all of the money they've donated to compensate people that were affected negatively by this particular event. And so they went through a lot of public relations in an attempt to try and not only deal with the unfavorable event, but also build some goodwill so that ultimately consumers viewed them as someone who was, they were responsible for the event, but that they weren't necessarily just leaving it for someone else to handle. They were proactive, and they were going out there and trying to make changes. Now, this promotional mix, like I said, encompasses the 4 areas of advertising, personal selling, sales promotion, and publicity and public relations, pardon me. And companies will use these together in unison as a way of highlighting certain things. And companies don't have to use all of them per se. You don't necessarily need to use personal selling. Maybe that isn't something that you want to specialize in, and it obviously represents a very significant cost because it is more expensive on a per-person basis. But companies can utilize each of these in varying degrees as a way ultimately of promoting and communicating information about their products and services to consumers. And so typically we don't resort to simply just one or the other. Usually we use a number of these, obviously, to enhance our promotional effectiveness, if you will, but these are some of the elements that ultimately you'll see companies key in on.
Okay, so that was a little bit longer video than I usually show, but it really did sum up a lot of what the chapter had to say, and kind of brought it, I think, down to pinpointed it maybe a little bit better. And you can always, as I've told y'all before, you can take it and you can compare it to how you would use with healthcare. And there's several examples in there that, for instance, when they were talking about the PR, you think about healthcare and you wonder how you get bad PR. I can think of one example right off the bat when about, a few years back, time flies, but the VA hospitals had horrible information going out about them. And where there was one VA hospital back east somewhere that, a number of people had passed away when they were waiting to get an appointment. And, most of the VAs are really, really well run and really are great. But a lot of them suffered from that bad publicity just because they were part of that system. And they hired public relations experts and all kinds of people. There were, for a while, you were seeing all kinds of ads on TV about the VA hospitals just so they could undo what had been done by one hospital. So you may at some point in your career be in a position where your hospital has gotten some, or wherever company you're working for has gotten some bad PR, and you got to figure out, how to fix it. Other examples you can look at, as far as, your source has to be credible when you use somebody in advertising. If you remember, Bill Cosby was the main advertising person for Jell-O, for one thing, and I think Coca-Cola also. And then when he got in all that legal issues, all those commercials were pulled, millions of dollars, because they had to separate themselves from the source. So all these things you have to think about, when what kind of promotion are you going to do? Okay, do I have any questions? All right. Okay. All right, well, here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to, let me find there's a worksheet. It's called ice cream. And what you're going to do is y'all are going to go into your separate groups and your normal groups. I'll put it self-select. And let me pull this page up and I'll show you what it's going to look like. Give me 1 second. Maybe. Let's see. Where'd it go? some reason it's, all right, here we go. Okay, let's see if I can get to it right now. Hope so. All right. Okay, so this is what I'm going to put this worksheet into the chat room, and I'll also send it by email in case for some reason it's not working on the chat. But what the group is going to do, there are 3 links here, and these are 3 different kinds of ice cream and 3 different brands of ice cream. And what you're going to do as a group, and y'all can, when you get together, y'all can separate out, you know, 1 or 2 of the Bluebell or Mayfields, Ben Jerry's, whatever it happens to be. And then y'all are going to fill in these blanks. One person will be your court secretary, I guess, and you'll fill in these blanks, just brief descriptions of the following things for each one. And then after you get through doing it for each of the brands, you're going to look and compare it. And then your group will make a decision on which one you think is the best product as far as their advertisement. Who's done the best job of advertising their product, and which one would you be more likely to purchase, not knowing anything about them, but just looking at their website. Okay, so any questions on that? So I'm going to send those links out to you, but before I do, I need to do one more thing, because since you're not required to come to class next week unless you want to, I need to figure out who wants to go first, second, and third, and fourth and fifth for your presentations. So we've got 4 days set aside, and we might get them all done in 3, but I have a 4th day set aside just in case. So what I want you to do is, while you're in your group, you know, as soon as you go into your group, decide when y'all want to be. If you want to be the first day, second day, and if you have a preference, like you want to be first on the first day or first on the second day, then let's see, I guess send it to me via chat. Yeah, can y'all get to the chat when you can get to the chat when you're in the groups, right?
I don't think we can send you a message when we're in our breakout rooms.
Okay, all right, then instead send me an email as soon as y'all decide. Okay, and I'll do it, you know, first come, first serve. Okay, so any questions on that? We're good on that. All right, let me put y'all into your, first let me put this, hopefully it'll let me put this into the chat. Let's see. All right. Okay. All right, let me close. It's telling me I can't use it. I'm gonna try this again. Okay, y'all should be able to see that now in the chat. That's when you're gonna open up. If any of the groups having trouble with that, let me know and I will email it to you. It looks like it's showing up okay this time. Now I'm going to open up the breakout rooms. Remember, go into to your normal breakout room. Let me know if you need to be forced into it.
Hi, Dr. Martinez. Can you add me to breakout room 5, please?
I sure can, Rachel.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Okay, Z, do you need to be added in?
Yes, please.
Okay, which one?
I'm not even too sure. I know I'm group 3.
Group 3? Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Karen, how about you? Karen, you there? Fateh, you there? Anisha, you there? Leslie?
Yes, I
Hello?
am. I just forgot what group I'm in.
Oh, okay, let me see.
Sorry. And then also I didn't get the email or the PDF on my message for Zoom. It didn't pop up.
Okay, I will send it to you.
Okay, thank you so much.
I'll just send it to everybody then. Maybe
Okay.
some other people have the same issue. Okay, so you are in group 2.
Okay, thank you so much.
You bet. Karen, you there? Pate, Karen, we are there. Janice, do you need me to put you in the room?
Yes, please. I'm sorry, I came in a little bit late. My alarm didn't wake me up.
Okay, hang on.
Thank you.
Which room is it? I'm not seeing you right up. Oh, 2. Okay, there you go. Okay, I closed it about a minute early, and here's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna talk about it now. Sorry about that, because I thought it gave you 60 minutes once I hit close, but apparently something happened to the way I had it programmed. We're gonna just have some kind of brief information from y'all as far as the time you had, because I know it wasn't that much. And then about which one y'all would choose, which ice cream you would choose based strictly. Now I know some of you may have like some bias, like for instance, Bluebell, you know, is from Texas. I'm not crazy about Bluebell, but a lot of people are. Some of you may love Ben and Jerry's. That other one I hadn't heard of before, but just based on the advertisement, I'm going to ask each group which one the group thought they would be more likely to buy from. Then, because it did take longer and there was people missing out of the groups, I'm going to give you the opportunity on an individual basis to actually no, on a group basis. I'll give you the opportunity on a group basis to submit that. One person out of the group can submit it by tonight at midnight, and I'll give you 2 points extra credit if you complete it, if you complete the worksheet. It's strictly up to you whether you want to do that or not. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to remind y'all is, remember there is a extra credit opportunity on Thursday, a speaker. I sent y'all the email with the link on that. Again, it's 2 points extra credit for attending. I think it's from 3 to 4 on Thursday. Okay, so I'm going to put group, I think I put group 1 on the hot box first. Group 1, did y'all decide which one you would purchase solely based on the website?
Sorry, my mic was on mute. We kind of because we didn't have like our full group, we kind of just separated into the work, and we just kind of worked on it as quickly as possible. But we didn't have time to discuss which one we prefer. For myself, the one I worked on was Mayfield, and the flavors and what they have available looks like something I'd be willing to try, but at least searching on their website and the availability is non-existent, at least not in
California.
California, yeah. So
right, that's a good point. You know, like some will ship. I think that Bluebell ships all over the world, but yeah, that is a good point. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other comments from your group? Okay, thank you, Michael, for taking the lead. Group 2, did y'all have any kind of come to any kind of decisions?
Yeah, group 2 decided that we would purchase Bluebell.
Had any of y'all actually tried Bluebell?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I know it's out here in some stores. And you think that their website was better put together than the other two?
Yes.
Okay, super. All right. How about group 3? Okay, let me call you out. I know there were a lot of people missing. Z, what did y'all decide?
Is that ours? No, it's okay. I'll talk. I don't mind.
Okay, super. Okay, Karen, what did y'all decide?
So we chose Ben and Jerry's. Reason for that is their packaging is really outstanding. I know they don't use like reusable. I mean, they're not eco-friendly, but their containers like don't deteriorate because they have a water resistant coating around it, and they sell pints. They sell pints and tubs, and not only that, they offer 98 flavors, and 17 of those flavors are non-dairy. So it gives you that advantage for whether you're lactose or not.
Right.
And then we are missing a lot of people, so that's as far as we got. And then also, what's it called? Their slogan's pretty catchy. It's kind of like it's called "Do the world of flavor" or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Do the world of flavor. Yeah. So I thought it was like a little like cute pun or something.
You know, I don't know if they have it on their website or not, but they were actually trained at Penn State at the creamery at Penn State. And Penn State has one of the best creameries that, I mean, it's just mouth watering. And they have ice cream like Peachy Paterno because, you know, he was the coach for so long, you know.
Oh, I see.
So Ben and
Yeah,
Jerry is a product of Penn State.
yeah, pretty cool. Thank you.
You bet. Okay, group 4, what y'all got to say?
We also chose Ben and Jerry's, but I'm wondering on that paternal flavor if they had to do some PR.
I know they did, and that is a good point. I know, and when after I said that, I thought, I bet that flavor's gone, because I used to go there a lot because I did my my professor moved there when I was in the middle of my dissertation, and so I was at Penn State a lot. And y'all probably know, if you have Dr. Lawrence, he's also a Penn State graduate. But anyway, yeah, Peachy Paterno may have left. It may not be so peachy anymore.
But we did definitely choose Ben and Jerry's. The packaging is definitely colorful, friendly, and inviting. And looking at that packaging definitely makes me feel less guilty to eat that whole pint to myself.
I hear you.
So group 4 mentioned 91 flavors. That is accurate. Traditional flavors, 61 flavors, plus additional promotional flavors such as Netflix and Chill, Chance the Rapper, etc. And besides the non-dairy she mentioned, they also offer gluten-free products as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Now they package and sell their gluten-free, their cookie dough bites. So you can buy bags of the cookie dough bites, and they also offer doggy treats.
Oh, I did not know about the doggy treats. That's great. I haven't looked at those sites in a while. Super.
Yeah, they're pretty, they do try, although the packaging may not be entirely eco-friendly, they do try to be environmental friendly, like their freezers, the way they distribute the product are lean green freezers, quote, climate friendly and energy efficient. And I know they also do a lot of donating to causes in across the nation. So we chose Ben and Jerry's because they give back to the communities all over, not just in Vermont where they are placed.
Originated.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Good find. Super. All right. How about group 5? What did y'all decide?
We decided, oh, sorry, Jezebel, you can go. Oh, thanks.
Go
We
ahead.
decided Ben and Jerry's as well. Just based off of what was already said, and also something that we did like too is that they have the small little containers that you can, like the baby ones that you can try different flavors if you like, or I like it for portion control.
Yeah, you know, Haagen-Dazs has that too. The unfortunate thing is that you go and you buy 10 of them instead.
I know, right? And then you're I know.
But yeah, that is a good point.
It is. Yeah.
Okay. Well, y'all all did a great job in that little bit of time that you had in ferreting out the different things that made that particular ice cream more, more appealing. So, and the main reason for this exercise was for y'all to see how things can be changed and how your mind can be changed and how much can happen or not happen on websites. And if you look at that, when you start working for any kind of healthcare institution, their websites also need to be very positive, and they need to create an experience that the patient doesn't dread going. So these are all ways to how much a difference it can make in various products and services. Okay, so do we have any questions on anything? All right, so next Tuesday, we don't meet as a group unless you want to. I will be here. The site will be open. And, for any questions that you have, and of course you can contact me anytime between now and then if you have questions. I'm going to attempt to get the proposals back to you in the next couple of days, but for sure by the weekend, so you'll have the whole weekend to work on it. And other than that, I think I'm done. I hope y'all have a great week.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
great
you.
week.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I had a question. What did you say about the extra credit for the ice cream flavor, I think?
If y'all get it turned in by midnight tonight, you get 2 points extra credit if you complete it and turn it in by midnight.
Oh, okay, the Google Doc that you sent us.
Just just need one person out of the group can turn it in, and the whole group will get credit.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Okay, I still had another question. So I've been a little bit busy and I kind of forgot to turn in the scenario two, because I did like the answers, but I didn't do the questions. Can I turn that in for half credit at
Are you
least?
talking about LearnScapes or Navigate?
Yeah,
Yeah, you can turn in for partial credit.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Brandon, you still there? Brandon, are you there?